Do you hear about that fucking object that's hurtling towards Earth at like 130,000 miles an hour?
No, that might solve all our problems.
Some intergalactic object that's hurt. There's this guy, Avi Loeb. He's a professor at Harvard that believes it might be an alien probe.
Wow.
And he was talking about the odds of this thing being in the trajectory that it is, entering into our solar system in a direct path with Earth. The odds are extremely low. And at the place where it's doing it, it's when the Earth is the opposite side of the sun, so it's coming from behind the sun. And it's so it makes it difficult to detect. And that this object is in a direct line to come to Earth in 2027.
Do they have a trajectory of where it's going to land?
I don't think they totally know that yet. I think they're trying to calculate whether or not it's actually going to hit Earth or come near Earth or pass by Earth or what it, what it is. Like
why do they think it's an alien satellite or whatever?
Well, there's this guy, Avi Loeb, this professor that I'm discussing. He also had an analysis of another object that passed by Earth a few years back that they named, and they said that this thing had a very bizarre metallic sort of a look to it that he did not think, based on the shape of it and the way it was traveling, that it was natural. So he thought that that could have been some sort of an alien craft as well. I don't know. It's too fun. It's too fun.
But as it gets closer, we could probably decipher.
Scientists give chilling update on mysterious interstellar object racing through our solar system as they warn it's even bigger than we thought. Provide a chilling update on a mysterious interstellar object that's racing through our solar system. Using data from the Vera C. Rubin Observatory, experts have revealed just how big the object dubbed 31 Atlas really is. According to their analysis, the object measures roughly 7 miles in diameter. Holy fuck. How big is New York City? Bigger than Mount Everest, making it the largest interstellar object ever spotted. Professor Avi Loeb, theoretical physicist and cosmologist from Harvard University, suggested the object could be an alien spacecraft. However, not everyone is convinced. Chris Lintott, an astronomer at the University of Oxford, told Live Science any suggestion that it's artificial is nonsense on stilts. He added that these claims are an insult to the exciting work going on to understand this object. But Harvard's legit, and Avi Loeb is a legit astronomer.
Right. I mean, let's not rule anything out.
Yeah.
So as it gets closer.
There's something about it, about the way it's traveling, that it's bizarre. But it doesn't have a trail like a comet does.
Right.
We can scroll up a little so I can see that. The images of the comet were actually snapped by the Vera C. Rubin before it was officially discovered. However, since it was identified on July 1st, just a little bit ago, scientists have scoured back through data to find out more about the mysterious object. New study published on RXIV, whatever that is. More than 200 researchers have confirmed the likely size of the comet's main body, known as its nucleus. Their analysis suggests the nucleus has a radius of around 3.5 miles. That translates to a diameter or width of about 7 miles. To put that in perspective, bigger than Mount Everest, twice the size of Mount Kilimanjaro. Fuck.
That Honeymoon was way smaller.
Wow.
Yeah, so the, how do you say it?
Oumuamua, I think.
Oumuamua, discovered in 2017. He came on and talked to us about that. Was believed to be around 0.2 miles wide. And comet Borisov, discovered in 2019, was roughly 0.61 kilometer wide. So this thing is fucking huge. Yeah. So, previously speaking to Mail Online, Professor Loeb pointed out that its impressive speed of 130,000 miles per hour as an indication that it might be controlled by aliens. He said it's difficult to imagine a natural process that would favor a plunge towards the inner solar system at 60 kilometers per second, he said. An alternative is that the object targets the inner solar system by some technological design. Oh, boy. Oh, boy.
Well, hopefully they come in peace.
Well, that might be the end of the Earth. Maybe that's like they realize like that's when AI starts to take over and they think it's chaos. So like that's when it's gonna happen. So let's just like launch a 7-mile wide thing into the Earth and just start all over again like the dinosaurs.
Well, that you're saying it hits and then our AI fights it?
No.
Or they...
It wipes out. The AI
Oh.
takes over, and it's like, this isn't going to work. So it wipes it out. Just like when the dinosaurs were here. The
Right.
dinosaurs were too powerful. And they're like, yeah, let's just fucking start from scratch. Maybe that's how they like reset the game.
Huh. And then, so humanity is wiped out?
Everything's wiped out. Yeah, we
We're,
start fresh with new organisms. And then they come along and do genetic engineering, just like they did with us and monkeys, and create a new version of humans. But this time it's a little less territorial, a little more inquisitive, a little more interested in innovation, a little less interested in dominating and controlling
Right.
resources. Because that's what fucked us. Territorial apes get high technology and use territorial behavior to defend and acquire resources, and that creates war. Did you see that fucking dude? There's a dude who, this is a crazy story, Mr. Ballin, and Tom Segura was on Mr. Ballin, and Mr. Ballin explained this thing that happened. I forget what year it was.
It's in the 70s, I think.
Okay, so this Mexican pilot was flying, and in the middle of his flying, he got confused. He didn't know what the fuck happened. He fell asleep, and he woke up, and he was over the ocean. And he's like, how did I get over the ocean? This doesn't even make any sense. And the amount of gas that was missing from his plane didn't make any sense that he was able to get this far. And what they're saying, and there's a recording of this, is that this guy went into a trance and was channeling some alien intelligence that was explaining through this guy's voice that the human race is the only intelligent race in the universe that still uses war and still kills people and engages in large-scale conflict and has nuclear weapons, and that they have to stop doing this or that someone's going to step in. It's a crazy story. Play the story.
Someone's going to step in?
Could we play it? Some of it?
I don't know.
Just to give credit to Mr. Ballin?
I'll try. Well, now I have to find the video. I was looking for that.
Well, everybody should just go to it. If you just tell me how to go to it, I'll just
think it was
drive
on
people to see it.
His Instagram account with Tom, but he's got a really good YouTube channel too. Where he
Yeah.
goes into all sorts of wild stories like this.
Yeah, but this was a great one. And then there's an actual audio recording of this guy saying this. Here, I'll send you the audio recording, Jamie. If you can't find it real quick. I sent it to Tom. After I saw Tom on the show, I was like, I go, that's fucking crazy, man. And he's like, dude, wild. And then I sent him this. I said, did you know there's an actual recording that you can listen to of the guy saying this? So if you go like halfway into it, you got it? Oh, you got it. Okay. So a certain distance into it, you hear the guy talking in this very bizarre monotone Spanish. Was there a UFO? Like, why did they show that UFO, that fake
Someone's
UFO?
making a video to watch to keep you interested on YouTube.
Oh, keep me interested. I'll be interested anyway.
Here it is.
Yeah, let me hear it. He is speaking, but he does not know. The equipment is too primitive. This is the only way to convey. Lower that a little. A microphone. The equipment is too primitive. This is the only way to convey their message. After almost an hour, the beings would release the young aviator pilot from his hypnotic state and return control of the plane so that he could receive instructions. And at the same time, he managed to land at the Acapulco airport. Interesting. You know, that's the thing. Like, if there was a unique event where something happened and an alien race did interact with human beings and then never again, no one would believe you, even if it was real. If it was that's the problem with like unique events. We base reality on what we experience and what everybody else experiences on a day-to-day basis.
Right.
What we have evidence of. But if something happened that was completely unique like that, where they said, like, this is the only way we can communicate. Their equipment is too primitive.
Right.
We'll just take over this guy's mind and have
Right.
him say it. Like, who was ever going to believe that?
I guess that's the quote translated.
Okay, the alien message that spoke through Rafael Pacheco Perez to the air traffic controller. It says, he speaks because he is ordered to. That is, it is his voice he speaks, but not of his own free will. We use it as a microphone. No matter who we are or where we come from, it is enough for you to know that we are beings of this universe where you belong. Our planet is many light years away, but we are physically equal. I repeat that all races in the universe are physically equal. You are not alone in the universe, and there are other races that are far away from you, and we are watching you. But he said more than that.
No, for sure.
What is the full extent of his quote? Because he said something about you're the only race that still engages in warfare. I want to believe it. I want to believe it so bad.
I don't. I definitely think there's other life forms out there.
I do
And
too,
they're
but I
more
don't know what
advanced.
really happened.
Yeah.
I really wish I knew. I mean, I really
But this
wish I
guy
knew.
did fall asleep while he was flying a plane, so can we really trust him?
Right, and he did wake up over the ocean. But if he did wake up over the ocean, it doesn't make sense that he got over the ocean, if that's true.
Right.
Explain that. Like, how did he get there?
Yeah.
What'd you do? Did you take over the plane, move it with your spaceship? Or why'd you put him over the ocean? So if he crashed, he wouldn't kill anybody?
Right.
Why'd you do that? Like, what is all this?
And what's the thing with the gas being gone?
Right. Because I guess they, picked it up and took it.
Huh.
I don't know. We are watching you. What else does it say? Definite surprise. Issued a certificate stating he was in perfect health and had not consumed any drugs. It ruined his career and he never piloted a plane again. Wow.
This is his first solo flight too.
Whoa. Imagine your first solo flight. You're like, I am going to pull a fucking gag on these motherfuckers. I got an idea. I got some extra gas.
That was 1976?
Yeah.
Wow. No, I don't know if I believe that account, but I do believe that there's other life forms out there.
My problem is I want to believe that account. That's always the problem with all these things. I want to believe. I want to believe so bad that I don't think about them rationally sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, these stories are all, it's like whether you trust the source or not, but
What would
the
you
universe
do,
is
though?
the universe is too big for us to be the only ones here.
Oh, for sure.
And I don't care that Mars doesn't have any water. Maybe they don't need water.
Well, they think Mars used to have a full atmosphere. And do you know that there's structures on Mars that they've observed even recently that look like perfect squares that are huge?
Huh.
There's this one that I showed to Elon. I go, what is that? Tell me what do you think that is? Like, well, we should probably go there and look around. Like, yeah, we should probably go there and look around.
And he's the guy to do it.
But what is, he didn't want to say what he
Right.
thought it was, but I'm looking at him like, do you think this could have been at one point in time a structure? Because it has perfect right angles and it's a square and it's huge.
Right.
They said it's at least hundreds of meters across, but it might be miles across. It's rough estimates, but they know it's large. You ever seen it? Jamie will show it to you. But it's like a literal square. There's a bunch of shit that's weird there. That's like the face on Mars, but I'm not totally convinced about that. But that one's nuts. Like, that's kind of crazy. Didn't that look kind of crazy?
It's on the right?
Yeah. That's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
That looks like a fucking square.
Oh, yeah, that looks like a foundation.
I mean, tell me what the fuck
Yeah.
that is. What is that?
Right.
That does not look normal. Those angles don't look normal at all. That lower left-hand corner, like, what is that? And then the fact that it's roughly a square. I mean, I don't know if it's a square or a rectangle. It seems like it's a little taller than it is wide.
Right.
But whatever it is, it looks like a fucking structure, man. It's weird.
Well, just because we can't exist there doesn't mean other life forms can't exist there.
Or
Who
other
knows?
life forms used to exist there.
Right.
Like, imagine if there was, if there's life on Earth right now, today, and if Mars at one point in time had a sustainable atmosphere, like millions and millions of years ago, what if there was life on Mars? What if we are the offspring of the life on Mars? What if those fucking guys just realized, like, hey, this place is falling apart. Let's shoot over to Earth
Oh, that's
and
something.
reestablish.
Yeah.
I mean, that might be why we're so different than every other primate that's here.
I never thought about it like that. That might be true. I just think it's so vast and we know so little about everything, it's possible. That's just I kind of like broaden it that way, where it's like, it's all possible. The universe is infinite and we know very little about it.
Yeah, it's totally possible.
Yeah.
It's just not likely. I mean, it seems, because you haven't seen anything. Like, it's not likely.
But we're trying to use our logical brains to figure out. It's
Yeah.
like, could this be possible? It's like, there's
fucking
so much we
knows?
don't know. And we have such a limited scope with our human minds to even comprehend stuff. So it's like, you don't know.
Things are getting very wild.
Yeah, there is a lot of misinformation. You know, some people said, I invented 3i Atlas, this object, in order to distract attention from the Epstein files.
Is that what people are saying?
Yeah, and I said, look, this object is the size of Manhattan Island. It's at 4.5 times the Earth-Sun separation. If I was able to put it out there, I would be more powerful than the Pope. And because we're talking about a giant object that you can see from any place on Earth. You can buy online a telescope that will allow you, 0.5 meter in size, that will allow you to see it. It's out there. It cannot be faked.
Well, those people are fools. You can't listen to those people.
I don't listen to those. I don't listen to many people,
Initially, a lot of people were dismissing your concerns, and they were saying that this object is nothing but a comet, and it's very normal. But then as it got closer and as we got more data, it seems like you're correct.
Well,
this is a very unusual object.
There is something really important to recognize here, that usually when you deal with scientific matters, they have very little impact on the future of humanity. Very little. If the neutrino has a little bit of a mass, doesn't really matter. When we discovered the Higgs boson, the biggest impact was to confirm some idea we had back in the 60s. And, obviously that affected, those people who got the Nobel Prize. But most of us continued as if nothing happened. However, here, if we ever encounter alien technology, everything will change. It will affect the financial markets. It will affect politics in a major way. So my point is simple. This is different than other scientific matters. And the intelligence agencies know very well that events with very small probability have to be considered seriously because they could have major implications. Just think about October 7th. The Israeli intelligence agencies had a theory that the Hamas will do nothing. And they got data that indicated something is going on out there, but they dismissed it because of their theory. Now, as a result of their mistake, which was clearly a blunder, a lot of people died on both sides. That this could have been avoided if they were to consider a black swan event, an event that you put a small probability for it happening, but you look at anomalies in the data and say, look, the implications are so huge, we have to consider it. And, this idea was already considered by the philosopher-mathematician Blaise Pascal. He talked about God. And he said, look, of course, you might think that God doesn't exist. The probability for that is small, but the implications, if God exists, the implications are so huge that we have to discuss it. That was the argument, Pascal's wager. And the intelligence agencies know that. Believe me, the Israeli intelligence agencies will not make that mistake again. Now, here comes an object from outside the solar system, and it shows anomalies. The scientists would say we should be as careful as possible at talking about anything other than a rock. Now, they say that when they know that humanity launched a lot of space junk, a lot of technological objects to space. And we also know that there are 100 billion stars like the sun in the Milky Way galaxy alone. Most of them formed billions of years before the sun. And there are billions of Earth-Sun analogs. Now, we all believe that we came out of a soup of chemicals. That's the scientific narrative of how human intelligence came on this earth. And so it's quite likely that, we are not the first one. Sorry to break the news, Elon Musk was probably not the most accomplished space entrepreneur since the Big Bang, 13.8 billion years ago. And therefore, we should consider the possibility that things like us existed long before us. And you can ask the question, how long does it take our own technology, the Voyager spacecraft that we launched out of the solar system, how long does it take it to move to the opposite side of the Milky Way galaxy? Thousands of light years away, it takes less than 1 billion years. And that means that all these civilizations that had their history initiated billions of years before ours could have done it. And all we need to do as responsible scientists is to check if among all the rocks that come from outside of our backyard are really rocks, or maybe one of these objects might be a tennis ball that was thrown by a neighbor. And the reason I say that is, we live at our home, on Earth, next to the sun. We look around us in the cosmic street, and we see a lot of houses just like ours. There are billions of them probably. Now, my colleagues, those scientists who think traditionally, they say, well, microbes came to Earth very early, therefore they must be everywhere. So let's define our highest priority, searching for microbes on other houses in our cosmic street. And I say, good, you can do that from the vantage point of your home. You can look through the window and search for microbes in your neighbors' yards, but you would need to put $10 billion to develop a big enough instrument that would be able to detect the chemical fingerprints of microbes, on exoplanets. And think about the possibility that there is a resident in one of those houses. That resident might show up in your front door at some point, or you might see an object that arrives to your backyard or your mailbox from that resident.
A black swan event.
A black swan event. Or you might see some construction project from a distance. That might be easier to detect than microbes. So we should hedge our bets. We should invest billions of dollars on both fronts. At the moment, the scientific community is willing to allocate more than $10 billion to searching for microbes, but no recommendation is made to allocate any federal funding to the search for intelligence. And I say that is an oversight.
Let's go back to, one more time. Oumuamua. Okay,
yeah.
I don't want to screw it up. How large was that?
That was the size of a football field.
Okay, so
of all the 100 meters.
Small in comparison to 3I Atlas.
Oh, yeah. That's my point, that 3I Atlas is 1 million times more massive, at least 1 million times more massive than Oumuamua. Right. And I immediately, as it was discovered, it was July 1st, and my wife asked me to go on vacation to Aruba 2 days later. And as I was going on the plane and as I arrived there, I realized, wait, that doesn't make sense, because we should have seen millions of Oumuamuas before we saw this one. It's so big. And I also realized there is not enough rocky material per unit volume in interstellar space to deliver such a giant rock into the inner solar system within a period of a decade. You would expect it at the very optimistic scenario where you package all the material into objects that are 5 kilometers in diameter. You would imagine once per 10,000 years. So I wrote immediately a scientific paper. My wife was not happy that, on our vacation, I was sitting on my computer, but I just couldn't resist it.
Right.
And by the way, this paper I submitted for publication. That was July 3rd or something. And then the editor said, oh, the paper is fine, but you have a concluding sentence at the end where you say, well, unless the object is smaller than estimated, maybe it was targeting the inner source. That was my solution to say, one way out of this dilemma of why is it so big is if it was targeting the inner solar system by design. And indeed, the trajectory is aligned with the plane of the planets around the sun to within 5 degrees. The chance for that at random is 1 in 500, okay? And it's moving in a retrograde trajectory opposite to the motion of the planets, which is ideal for it to release mini probes that will get into the planets. It gets close to Mars, it gets close to Jupiter, it goes on the opposite side of the sun relative to Earth when it's closest to the sun. And that's the time when a spacecraft could do a maneuver to take advantage of the sun's gravitational assist. All of these are interesting indications that may imply that some intelligence designed the trajectory. So I had one sentence at the end of the paper saying, maybe the trajectory was designed. And the editor said, no. The paper will not get published unless you remove that sentence.
Wow.
So now when you listen to comet experts that say, well, this claim or that claim was never published in a peer-reviewed journal, guess what? They are the editors or the reviewers who are blocking the discussion on possibilities. And I think it's inappropriate, especially in the case of alien technology, because it could be a black swan event. It could be something that affects the future of humanity. And if we behave, very conservatively, we might not last very long.
Well, it's also arrogant.
It's arrogant.
Yeah. This object is shows that there's no iron.
Oh no!
And
So then the composition
Yes.
of the plume of gas
So
around
this is before you knew about the composition.
That's right.
That you wrote this paper.
Exactly.
Okay.
And
so
so-
as time is going on, you are being shown to be correct.
Well, we found more anomalies.
More anomalies.
More
That
anomalies.
this is
So
not
for-
a normal thing.
Not a normal thing. So for one thing, there was a glow that looks like an extended feature. And everyone said, oh, that's a tail. That's the signature of a comet.
Right.
And I said, wait a minute. It's pointing towards the sun. It's not pointing away from the sun. Usually cometary tails are made of dust and gas, which is pushed back away from the sun by the radiation and the solar wind, you know. And so this one was pointed towards the sun, not away from the sun. And the question is, why? And actually, I calculated that, you know, it appeared very clearly in the sharpest image we had from the Hubble Space Telescope, which showed an elongation by a factor of 2 towards the sun. But we were looking at it like a cigar. We were looking almost along the cigar long axis, within 10 degrees of the object sun axis. So we were looking almost edge on. Mm-hmm. And I calculated if you were to correct for that, this would be a feature that is 10 times longer than it is wide. You know, and that means it's like a jet. So the object had a jet in front of it towards the sun. The question is why? And, you know, the comet experts ignored it and just said, well, you know, comets are strange. You know, who knows? But my point is, this is a blind date of interstellar proportions. And my advice on blind dates is not to speak or say what you think this is, but to observe the other side. You know, the best way to respond to a blind date is to observe the other side. Don't speak, just observe the other side, because it may be different than what you think. And maybe, you know, on one of the dates, you will have a serial killer on the other side.
Oh, boy. Now, explain, if you could, how we know the composition of this thing.
So we can figure out composition of a plume of gas by taking a spectrum of it, which means you basically have some kind of a prism that breaks, that a light with different wavelengths is bent at different angles. And so you spread the light into the different colors. And if you do that, you can find the fingerprints, the spectral fingerprints of specific atoms or molecules, because each atom or molecule has transitions. I taught it just 2 days ago in a class that I teach that is obligatory at the Harvard Astronomy Department, where I was chair for a decade, like between 2011 2020. So this is the mandatory class, and I just taught how, spectral lines emitted by atoms and molecules just 2 days ago. So this is a very well-known thing, and we know the wavelengths of those, and we use them to identify the composition. We know which atoms produce these spectral lines, the fingerprints. It's just like fingerprints, okay? And so what was found, and that's by multiple teams, there are 3 papers on that, we found nickel, a lot of nickel, but very little iron. At first, no iron whatsoever. Now, usually in all the comets in the past, from the solar system and also from interstellar space, there is one comet, Borisov, that was found. It's the second interstellar object, which looked just like a familiar comet. I had nothing to say about that one. It looked like a comet, behaved like a comet. It was a comet, but it had similar abundances of nickel and iron. The only place where we found before much more nickel than iron is in alloys that we produce industrially. For example, for aerospace applications. Right. Nickel alloys have a lot of nickel, no iron. So maybe the skin of this object is industrially produced. That was my suggestion. But what the authors of these papers said is maybe nature is capable of going through the same chemical pathway of producing nickel without iron as we do in our industries. So they made the conjecture that this carbonyl pathway, which is well known in the industry world, carbonyl is the pathway, the name of the pathway. They said, well, maybe this carbonyl pathway happens in nature. We have never seen it before. But that is their explanation.